I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's Starborn show is called Winning an Uphill Battle. And I think we might all be involved in some sort of uphill battle this week, because tomorrow there is a full moon at 13 degrees of Gemini. And it's facing some problems. And so I think that's an indication that we're going to be facing some problems as well. Gemini is the traditional ruler of the third house of everyday life. So it rules early childhood education. It rules your pals and your buddies and people that you know, that you see every day, maybe in your classroom or at work. And whether you know their names or not, you're sort of friendly with them. And it also rules our neighborhoods. And Gemini is a sign of communication and duality. It rules the twins, so it rules short-term or temporary efforts, and it rules part-time jobs, and it rules short forms of education, such as vocational schools, where you can pick up a skill and immediately go into the workforce. Or it rules two-year colleges and university, or two-year colleges where you can get an associate degree and go ahead with some training in order to enhance your career. And Gemini also rules our brothers and our sisters. And as I said, it rules easy communication and versatility and temporary or part-time efforts. So Geminis are very adaptable because Gemini is a mutable sign. The reason why we're going to be running into an uphill battle this week is because there are 6 planets in the mutable signs in a harsh T-cross. And so they're given that full moon tomorrow a whole lot of problems. And so I'll describe what you could run into this week. The full moon in Gemini is actually being opposed by 3 planets in Sagittarius, including the Sun. And since the moon is at 13 degrees under a full moon, we know that the Sun will be at 13 degrees of Sagittarius in a direct opposition. And when the Sun and the Moon oppose or square each other, it can lead to indecision or confusion. So right off, we're looking at that. And then Venus has just entered Sagittarius and is opposing that full moon. And Mars is in Sagittarius now. It's direct. And Mars is in a fire sign. It's sort of all geared up to march forward and do what it wants, and it is opposing that gentle full moon in Gemini. But all 4 of these planets are also being squared by 2 others, and so the full moon and the 3 planets in Sagittarius are all being squared by Saturn in Pisces, which is now direct. It's a mutable sign too, and it is conjuncting Neptune, the ruler of the sign, at the 29th degree of Fate in Pisces. So these 6 planets are not getting along, and the problem is that the mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are generally flexible and understanding and tolerant, and they can see somebody else's point of view, and they're willing to listen to other people's ideas, even if they don't quite agree with all of them. So there's such a harsh T-cross going on in these mutable signs that for sure there are a lot of people that are not going to be in agreement this week, and that's too bad. And so you're going to be fighting some sort of an uphill battle right now that has to do with problems in different areas. For instance, since Saturn is now direct in Pisces and is squaring Mars in Sagittarius, there can be a lot of dissension or even quarrels about matters that come out from behind the scenes, which is what Pisces rules, and how they can lead to legal problems. And then there are, since those planets are squaring, Saturn is squaring Mars, and Neptune is squaring Venus, and generally that's not too good because it makes it a little hard to really follow through on your dreams. And Neptune is at home in Pisces, and it's at the 29th degree, meaning that since Neptune rules dreams, that a dream is either on or over. And so you may be fighting an uphill battle just to make sure that you stick to your favorite dream, and it could be a little bit hard to do this week. And that is because some people are sort of, they're suffering from crossed wires or crossed communications. Or it can be, since Saturn is squaring Mars, and that Mars is opposing the full moon in Gemini, It can be that there are some people around behind the scenes that are deliberately spreading malicious information or even trying to stop you from making a precious dream come true. So you could sort of look at the fact that there's troublemakers around somewhere. Or it can simply be that you could be having financial problems. And those could represent an uphill battle right now, because Uranus is another planet that's at the 29th degree of fate, meaning something is on or over, and it is a malefic planet. There's 3 of them, Saturn, Mars, and Uranus. And it is at the 29th degree of Taurus, a fixed financial sign. It's the only planet in an Earth sign. And so it is being squared and opposed by other planets, leading to financial difficulties, or perhaps a change in investments, or the money or possessions, something like that, things that Taurus rules. So that you could be running into problems in that area too that represent an uphill battle, because that Uranus is being opposed by a very good planet, Gemini's ruler, which is Mercury, but Mercury is in Scorpio. It's at 23 degrees. It's closely opposing that Uranus, which is a malefic planet ruling sudden surprising change in the other fixed financial sign, Taurus. And Pluto, which rules upper management in organizations, is also in a fixed sign, Aquarius, and it's squaring that Uranus, and it is also squaring Mercury in Scorpio. So there's some financial difficulties that have to be worked out. But why am I pretty sure that you can win an uphill battle? It's because there is still a wonderful grand trine among the water signs. And last week there was a perfect grand trine among the water signs. Well, that grand trine is still holding. The planets have moved just a little bit, but there's still 4 planets in water signs in a perfect grand trine. And so that Mercury that is in Scorpio and is coming up against Pluto and Uranus in Taurus, by itself, that Mercury in Scorpio, which is the ruler of a communication sign, Gemini, where the full moon is tomorrow, that Mercury is at 23 degrees of Scorpio, closely trining the exalted Jupiter in Cancer, which rules the 4th house of home, last half of life, and endings. Because it's at 24 degrees and Mercury is at 23 degrees in Scorpio, which rules justice and survival and is a fixed financial sign. Those 2 planets they're the 2 best planets in the heavens, and they're getting along really well. But they are both trining Saturn, which is now direct, and it's the planet of time, in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces at the 29th degree of fate. So this powerful grand trine in the water signs means that one way that you can win an uphill battle is to be very sure of your feelings. And that influence has been going on for a long time. And because you can be very sure of your feelings, and you may still want to possibly make a precious dream come true at the very last minute, you're going to have to use some good communication and really be able to express your truest feelings. And particularly if they involve making a precious dream come true, this is the time when you may have to actually perform an ending in order to win an uphill battle. If something else in your life has to end, this is an excellent time to do that, because it might be standing in the way of a precious dream of yours that could come true at the last minute. And you could win an uphill battle by being very honest and true about your deepest feelings and then acting on them. And if it involves an ending, that's fine. Jupiter's in the sign of endings, Cancer. It's a really good planet. So it could be a good ending for both you and whoever else or whatever else you're ending. That would pave the way to have something that is even more important to you come true. And it would involve good communication that you're able to convey right now. And that would override any deceptive information or problems that are coming out from behind the scenes. You know, there could be people that are trying to mislead others or even lie to get what they want. And by you being true to your own feelings and sort of ending things that are holding you back, that is how you can win an uphill battle to make a precious dream come true right now, which is entirely possible because Saturn, the planet of obstacles and delay and time, is now direct. And so it could go forward. And as it's going forward, and it is at 26 degrees today, it's already conjuncting Neptune, the ruler of the sign. But Neptune is retrograde, and Saturn is going forward. They are going to exactly conjunct. And that's coming up right away. And so either a dream is on or over. And it's going to depend on how deeply you're in touch with your fondest wish or dream or your true feelings. And if you're sort of playing around, or if you've been the victim of other people that are trying to manipulate you or tell you tall tales that aren't true, or actually lie about something, you're going to have to end those associations and get rid of them before you can go forward and make a dream come true. But it could be done at the last minute. You could win an uphill battle right now simply by being more honest about how you really feel and then acting on that. Perhaps by ending something that isn't that important to you and by going forward with something else that really is important to you. You can make it, so good luck. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, Aries, I think that there is some sort of a legal matter that you could be involved in. Maybe you're deciding to make a new start. There isn't anything in your sign right now, but your ruler, Mars, is surrounded by a lot of planets, and because it's in Sagittarius, trining your sun, Aries, and so are Venus, which is in Sagittarius right now, and the sun is in Sagittarius. And so there we are. Strong planets in Sagittarius all trining your sun, Aries. And so there is a distinct possibility that you may be sort of you may be wanting to sort of think off with the old and on with the new. And that would be wise of you, Aries, while you've got your own ruler trining your sun and the sun and Venus with it trining your sun. So you could move forward on something. You may be able to win an uphill battle right now simply by your enthusiasm and once again by being very honest about your own true feelings. You know, if you've been sort of wanting the best of both worlds, or if you've been sort of weaving in and out of different relationships, this is a time when you have to be far more serious about your future and how you want to live it. And it might not have anything to do with anybody else. It's really how you want to go forward. And your sign rules new beginnings. And you've got some powerful planets backing your sign up right now. They are under duress, though. That's why you have to be careful. You know, you have to be real honest with what you really want to do or how you're thinking of living the rest of your life, Aries. You got to do some serious thinking right now because Saturn, a planet of delay, is direct in Pisces, right behind your sun sign, and Neptune is there, and they're conjuncting already, and they're part of a powerful grand trine in the water signs. So you might have to look behind the scenes and have a real talk with yourself about what kind of precious dream you have in your life or what your goals are. And Aries, the question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to settle for second best, or are you going to go for what's truly in your heart? And it would involve a new beginning. Why would it involve a new beginning? Because Jupiter is in Cancer, squaring your sun. It's part of the grand trine in water signs too. The power of the grand trine in the water signs overrides anything else that's going on, because there's only one grand trine, and that's in the water signs, and it's been holding for weeks now. But Cancer rules endings, and Jupiter is squaring your sign. There is probably going to have to be an ending, or more than one, in your life, Aries. So you need to be extremely honest with yourself about what you're doing in your life right now and how you want to live the rest of it. And it's not just a question of what you want. It's what you can achieve, or how long you want to keep going. Because you have these three planets in Sagittarius, including your ruler, Venus and the Sun, all trining your sun. If you wanted to start over in a new direction right now, Aries, you could do it. But it wouldn't It wouldn't have a lasting effect if it was just your second best effort or your second best idea or wish. You've got to be a little bit more honest and dig deep into your heart and ask yourself what's most important for you, and go for it. And you can pretty much overcome a lot of different things as long as you're honest with yourself. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time, Taurus, when yes, you can be facing the high cost of living right now, because Uranus is the only planet in an earth sign, and it's in your sign at the 29th degree of fate, which is on a blind star, and it's a malefic planet, and it is being opposed by a very strong Mercury in Scorpio, which is a water sign ruling justice and survival, but it too is a fixed financial sign ruling credit, debt, loans, taxes, insurance costs, inheritance, grants, and money coming in from any other source. And you either are looking at a little bit of a shortfall in the money, perhaps because some of your investments are not paying off the way you thought they would be. And your sign rules commercial real estate as well as investments. And so, you know, you're going to have to be real honest about what's most important to you. And to a Taurus, it's usually money, because your sign is a fixed financial sign. It's also an earth sign, and you're very practical about money. But the last time that Uranus was, it's already been at the 29th degree in your sign, and then it briefly went into Gemini this summer, and now it's back into your sign for the last time. And there 84 years ago, it was also at this very same degree in your sign. That was in 1942, when the world was broke from fighting a world war and trying to come out of a depression. So there were a whole lot of people that didn't have a lot of money, or the value of their investments had fallen quite a bit. And so that it's somewhere in your life that can be happening to you right now, Taurus. And it doesn't mean that you're broke or anything. It does mean, though, that you're going to have to concentrate a lot harder on really thinking. You know, Mercury rules thoughts and communication, and the full moon is right ahead of your sun sign in Gemini tomorrow, but it's a little bit beleaguered. And so you're going to have to think about your future, Taurus, and what your future costs will be, and you are probably going to have to cut back a little bit. And that is because other people could be deciding that other things are more important to them. There could even be some endings around. And if an ending does happen to you in one way or another, Taurus, either because some investment isn't worth as much, so you're going to sell it to sort of get out from under, or if there is a job cutback from your employer, something like that, or a layoff, then you will have to sort of readjust your money. It doesn't mean you're going broke. It means you're going to have to cut back. And there's nothing wrong with that. A Taurus is pretty careful with their money, and they like their creature comforts. So I don't think that those are being disturbed. But if you had been spending too much money, or if you had been counting on more money coming in right now, or if you are in a lifestyle where the costs keep going up for that lifestyle, where everything keeps getting more expensive, that's going to hit you in the pocketbook. And that's why you'll have to cut back. But you can still win an uphill battle like that if you just get a little bit more practical about your money, particularly the cost of something or the expenses that you've been incurring. And it would be wise of you to cut back on your expenses right now. This would be a good time to do it, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Oh, Gemini, the full moon is in your sign tomorrow at 13 degrees. It's in a little bit of trouble, though, because there are 3 planets in Sagittarius, the Sun also at 13 degrees, and Venus and Mars in Sagittarius, all opposing that gentle moon in your sign. Now, it means that there are some things going on around you, Gemini. You may not be instigating the problems or the uphill battle that you might be facing, but it could still be coming your way. And it could involve people from foreign countries. It could involve a legal matter that comes up that you've got to reconcile, or you've got to perhaps get legal advice about, and you're going to have to solve a problem that has to do with a legal issue. It could be something that has to do with people from foreign countries or long-distance travel. Your plans could be a little bit messed up about that, and if you're making long-distance travel plans, and you'd have to redo those. Or it is possible that there's something behind the scenes that comes out that perhaps you were not too eager to have known, but it comes out anyway, and you'd have to deal with that. And the reason why is that Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. They're part of the grand trine in water signs. They're well backed up, but they do square your sun. And Mars is opposing your sun. And so there's going to be an uphill battle somewhere in your life, Gemini, that you're going to have to address right now. But remember, I'm talking about winning an uphill battle. And the way to win an uphill battle is, first of all, to be very sure of your feelings and be real honest about them. And then using your good communication skills, perhaps to talk to people who have their eyes more focused on the future. And that would be a good idea, because the only planet that's trining your sun and the full moon tomorrow in your sign is Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto rules people in upper management, in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions who really have their eyes on the future, because that's what Aquarius rules. And the full moon is in your sign is trining that planet. And so maybe you have been around the wrong people, Gemini. Geminis are so versatile and so good at communication, and they can be pals and buddies with a whole lot of other people. But it can be that either you're in the wrong place, or you've been talking to the wrong people, or they've been talking to you, and perhaps they've been a little malicious and even jealous and envious of you, and so they could have been either trying to create trouble for you or telling you some sort of misleading lies. This is not the right time for you to trust everybody, Gemini. Mars is opposing your sun sign, and Saturn is squaring it. And so how are you going to win an uphill battle now? You need to talk to people represented by Pluto in Aquarius who have got their eyes on the future, and you need to head for the future and follow their advice. That could get you over an uphill battle, and that can get you on a new road that is a lot more promising for you. So good luck, Gemini. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, Jupiter is still in your sign. It's going to be that way until about next summer or so. It's going to be there for a while. And it is exalted in your sign, Cancer, and that only happens once every 12 years. So it's part of this grand trine. Your sign rules endings. They're rather good endings with Jupiter there. And it may be that as you are facing the real truth inside of you about a precious dream that you've always had, maybe you've never told anybody about it, but it is because Jupiter in your sign is being trined by Saturn, which is now direct in Pisces, and Pisces rules things behind the scenes. And Neptune, the ruler of the sign, is there as well, conjuncting that Saturn. They're both trining Jupiter in your sign. And Mercury is in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, and it is trining Jupiter in your sign. There is an ending that you really need to make right now. If you haven't made it, what are you waiting for, Cancer? Because it's based on half-truths, or it's based on people that can be going after what they want, and they don't have your best interest in mind at all. And so, you know, there's 6 planets in mutable signs all squaring and opposing each other. You need to take advantage of the grand trine that is still holding in the water signs, and you need to sort of come home to your most precious dream and stick to that. And you have to be real honest about what it is. And as you're being very honest about your feelings, the more honest you are and the more determined you are to make them come true, that is how you will be able to override any people who want to deter that, or who don't want you to end something that is good for them but not good for you. You really do need to make an ending. If you're the one that is getting used by somebody else, what are you sticking around for? That's not doing you any good. And you have Jupiter in your sign. Whatever ending you have to make right now, Cancer, you'll find the right words, and it'll all be based on how you truly feel. It doesn't mean you have to tell everybody what your most precious dream is, or what you feel deep in your heart, but you could come up with the right reasons to end something in order to head into a situation where you can make your most precious dream come true, and that would be at the last minute. But Saturn has gone direct in Pisces now. It's been retrograde for a long time, but it's direct now. So something that had been long delayed for one reason or another, you could probably reach out and touch it right now, as long as you were real honest about what was most important to you, and then you're ready to let go of other things that aren't. You can't be everywhere, Cancer. The most important place for a Cancer is to be home, because your sign rules the home, and it rules the last half of life, and it rules endings. And Cancers are very good at endings. This is the time when you're going to need to make one in order to come home to a precious dream. If you choose not to, then you'll just miss it for the rest of your life. And how are you going to like that? So it's not like it's going to come back, Cancer. You do need to end something to make a precious dream come true. And if you decide you're not going to end anything, there goes the precious dream. And whose fault is that? So you really need to think about whatever or whoever you have very deep feelings for, and you need to get there and turn those feelings into something real that can make you happy for the rest of your life. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, there are some pretty strong planets in a fire sign right now. Not your sign, and not Aries, but oh boy, the Sun, your own ruler, and Venus, and Mars are in Sagittarius right now, and all three of them are trining your Sun. So just like Aries, that doesn't have a planet in it either, you have really got to think of matters that could have a long-term effect on you. And so these matters could be legal matters. They could involve people from foreign countries, anything Sagittarius rules. People from foreign countries. They could involve court matters, because Sagittarius rules the court. And they can involve higher education, which is what Sagittarius rules as well. So there could be different directions you want to go in right now, Leo. And you could think about that a whole lot harder and sort of get down to, okay, where do you want to be and what do you want to do? You can't be everywhere. But these three planets are trining your Sun, Leo. There's nothing in your Sun sign, and on top of that, there are three planets in fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign, and they're in a harsh T-cross, and they are complicating your success because they're all challenging your sign. And so that's Pluto in Aquarius that is trined by that full moon in Gemini tomorrow, but it is actually opposing your Sun sign, and it will be for years. So people who want to, an upper management that want to go into the future, they're going to do it, whether you try to stop them or not, Leo, they're going to do it. And they may not be taking you with them. And then Uranus, a malefic planet, at the 29th degree of fate in a fixed financial sign, Taurus, is also squaring your Sun. And remember, you don't have anything in your Sun sign, but you do have those three planets in Sagittarius that could be helping you out. And Sagittarius is another fire sign which rules long-distance travel, or the higher mind, or the courts, or religion. And so you need to think a little bit more deeply about what's most important to you, Leo, and go for it while those planets are supporting your Sun sign, because Mercury is in Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign, and it is squaring your Sun as well, but it's in the water sign and is very well backed up right now. So there is a financial matter, Leo, that you probably need to end. And the reason why, if you ended it in one way or another, maybe it is a bill that you have to pay, or maybe it's a lifestyle choice. If you've been leading a lifestyle that is pretty pricey right now, you're going to have to cut back, Leo. But that may be wise of you. Maybe this is a better time when you should end things in order to regroup and ask yourself where you want to go next. Just you, not anybody else. And if you're examining your deepest feelings and you're thinking that you've still got some sort of precious dream in your heart, you may want to head for that. And it could be something that involves a legal matter or a long-distance trip or people from foreign countries, or even higher education in one form or another. And those would tend to be supportive of you right now. What you need to get away is the money problems. And that will, I think you're going to have to cut back or end something right now, because Uranus is squaring your sun and so is Mercury, and they are in the two fixed financial signs. But the only one that's got a whole lot of support behind it is that Mercury in Scorpio. And so you may have to realign some conditions for a debt, if you have a debt, or a loan, or the higher costs of insurance right now. So you're going to have to work on that, Leo. But in the end, these planets in Sagittarius, which sort of would serve a higher purpose, that's what Sagittarius really rules. If you were thinking of a higher purpose, or a better thing that you have your heart set on and you want to go for it, you will have to do it on a little smaller budget. And you'll have to take care of your financial problems first. They have to end before you can start anything else, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when there aren't a lot of planets in Earth signs, just like last week. But Uranus is in Taurus. It's a malefic planet, though, and it's retrograde at the 29th degree of fate, but it is trining your sun, Virgo. And Virgo, Mercury rules two signs. It rules Gemini, where the full moon is tomorrow, and that full moon squares your sun, and it also rules your sign, which rules analysis and fact-finding and accounting. And it's a practical earth sign, and it rules service to others and occupations that are of service to others, and it also rules the whole healthcare field, both mental conditions and physical conditions. And so you may have some sort of a health matter that you want to correct, or you want to get over it. And it might end up costing money to do that. This might be a very good time to spend money on that, Virgo, because Uranus is trining your sun. And so if there is a problem that you've had that is involving a mental health problem or a psychological problem or a physical problem, I would advise you to spend a little money on attending to that first. And the reason why is that there are 6 planets in mutable signs, and they're all squaring and opposing your sign right now, Virgo. And so I wouldn't reach out and touch to a whole lot of other people right now. I think you should just concentrate on how you can fix a problem, or what your deepest feelings are, and how you can follow through with them. And that is because the full moon in Gemini is squaring your sun. Well, Venus, Mars, and the sun in Sagittarius are also squaring your sun, and Saturn and Neptune, which are part of the grand trine in water signs, so they're real strong right now, and they are opposing your sun sign. Okay, so what that means, Virgo, is you can't please everybody. And there are people that are going to be making different demands on you. Okay, so that's going to represent an uphill battle, isn't it? Because you can't please everybody, and a whole lot of people can be coming at you in different ways for different things. And they're following their own interests. The question is, what are your own interests? How can you just stick to what's important to you? And in a funny kind of a way, you might want to ask yourself, Virgo, how can you get the monkey off your back? There's 6 planets, and all of them are hostile to your sign. And so how can you get away from that? Or how can you ease that? How can you change something? And in the end, the real question is, how can you end something that's really bothering you? And it's bothering you so much that it's like an uphill battle. It might be driving you crazy. How can you end it? You're going to have to end it, Virgo, or it'll overwhelm you. It will cause so much stress that it could affect you physically or mentally. Well, don't let other people or other situations do that to you, Virgo. Your sign rules health. You know, Virgos are usually pretty careful about their health. But there could be too many things that are causing you stress right now, and that's what you need to end. That's the uphill battle. And so you have to be real honest about how you really feel about who or what is most important to you, and go for that, and dump everything else that's bothering you. End it. Endings are very well favored right now because Cancer rules endings, and Jupiter is there in a grand trine. And Jupiter in Cancer sextiles your sun. You could make more than one good ending right now, Virgo. And if that's going to get the monkey off your back, and that's going to ease your stress and help you get better health, why don't you do it? Your peace of mind is worth something. And you might even have to pay money to regain your peace of mind right now. But why don't you do that? Because, Virgo, if you're investing in your own happiness, that's probably the best investment you could ever make. So why don't you do it now? And look forward, not back. All right. What does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time, Libra, when that full moon in Gemini is trining your sun, Libra, which is great. And Pluto in Aquarius is trining your sun too, which it will be doing for years. And so the possibility of you being able to win an uphill battle right now may be determined by your communication skills. And you've got a lot of support. That full moon in Gemini, which rules communication, is trining your sun. And if you are talking to people in upper management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, and they're talking about the future, and you're listening, or you're telling them about your future ideas, that could really work for you, Libra, which would be great. And you might really, at the same time, think a little bit more deeply about what your feelings are toward others, or what your feelings can be about a precious dream that could involve a project or a goal of yours. Not just a person that is precious to you, but a life goal of yours. And if you needed to pick up a partner to help you with that right now, Libra, you could do it. That might be how you win an uphill battle, by just getting somebody to help you. Your sign rules partnership, and it's that if other people are talking about their future ideas and they happen to coincide with something that you've got in your mind too for the future, then maybe you could link up with those people, even if it was on a short-term or temporary basis, which is what Gemini rules, because that moon in Gemini is trining your sun tomorrow. So in other words, Libra, if you've been going along, sort of just doing what's available, or what other people want you to do, you might sort of want to refine your plans right now to what is most important to you. And if you need help, you can probably get it right now. You could form a new partnership that would take you into the future in a much happier way than you are experiencing right now. And it might just be short-term or temporary, but very effective. The communication would be sort of flowing on both sides right now. And so if an ending were to occur somewhere else in your life, Libra, it would probably be very timely and the right ending to make now, as you seek a better future for yourself and maybe a great partner as well. You could do it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when in a funny kind of a way you have real good possibilities right now for winning an uphill battle, because there is a grand trine still in the water signs, and Mercury is in your sign, the planet of communication and the ruler of the full moon tomorrow, because Mercury rules Gemini and Gemini rules communication. But that planet of thought and communication is at 23 degrees in your sign today, Scorpio, and it is trining Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer, at 24 degrees. That's a tight trine going, and these are the two best planets. These planets are really good, particularly Jupiter in Cancer, because it's exalted, meaning that you may be thinking about some sort of an ending that needs to be made in your life based on what you'd rather be doing or how you feel today at this time in your life. And you could be wanting to think about that, and you could come up with a sort of like a real good reason why there has to be an ending now, and that Jupiter in Cancer would be supportive of you thinking about that. But those two planets are being trined by Saturn, the planet of time and obstacles and delays, which is now direct in Pisces, and it is at 26 degrees. It's in a tight trine to Mercury in your sign and to Jupiter in Cancer, and it's backed up by the ruler of the sign, Neptune, which is conjuncting it at the 29th degree of fate, indicating, since Neptune rules dreams, that a precious dream is either on or over. And it's up to you, to Scorpio, to decide and be very, very honest about your true feelings, because the water signs rule our feelings, and your sign rules justice and survival. You might be thinking about your survival right now, because Uranus is a malefic planet, and it's in Taurus opposing your sun sign. It's actually been doing that for the last 6 years, except for a brief time when it went into Gemini, but this summer, and now it's back in Taurus. And it'll stay there till next spring. And so, you know, there's something rather unfortunate connected with money or investments, or even greedy people that want you to pay their bills or ride your coattails, and that's what's got to end. Because that Uranus is at the 29th degree of fate, and it's a malefic planet. Somebody's up to no good and would like to see you part with your money, Scorpio, and you're going to have to stop that. That's the uphill battle. It's about money, and that's what your sign is about too. And so you're going to have to understand that somebody's after your money, Scorpio, and there's no support for that Uranus. There's nothing trining it, whereas your sign is in a grand trine. And since the water signs rule our feelings, you're really going to have to sit down and think. Mercury's in your sign. Think of what your truest feelings are and be real honest with yourself. If there's something that is aggravating you or costing too much or demands that other people are making upon your money, you'll have to end that, Scorpio, because they're out to get what they can, and it's yours that they want, and you've got to end that. And or something could be costing you a whole lot more than it's worth, and you've got to end that too. And you can do it by being real honest about what your most precious dream is, or how you want to spend the rest of your life, and even who you want to spend it with, and where you want to spend it. You need to be thinking about all those things, because all of those things are under the heading of survival, and that's what your sign rules. So take advantage of a grand trine in water signs, because it won't hold. Saturn and Neptune are both going to go into Aries fairly quickly, so they won't be trining your sun. And Jupiter will be trining your sun, but possibly Mercury, the planet of good communication and thought, which is at 23 degrees in your sign today, it'll move on, and it won't be there either. You have tremendous emotional support, or you can face the truth about your own emotions, and that can that truth can be the basis for how you survive in the future. And you have to be real honest about how you feel right now. And then you need to do something about it while you can, before the grand trine breaks up, and it will. And so you need to be real honest, because your happiness and your survival, even your financial survival, does depend on some endings that are necessary now, and on whether you can make or even want to make a precious dream come true. If you don't want to, you can wave goodbye to it. It won't be back. But if you decide that that is what you want to go for, this is the time to do it, Scorpio. So good luck. And that's how you can win an uphill battle against other people that would prefer to mislead you or deceive you or stop you. And right now, you better be real honest about the fact that your survival is a little bit on the line, and so are your finances. And so you need to be careful about both of them. Guard both of them. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when you can be all revved up and think that you are absolutely right about something, or else finally, Sagittarius, you may be deciding to go for something that you really love, that you would love to do. And it could be in a foreign country. It could involve the courts or people from foreign countries. Or you may be deciding that you would like to educate yourself a lot more. And your sign does rule higher education. Well, you have Venus in your sign. This is a good time. If you're thinking about going back to school or just educating yourself better, this is an excellent time to be doing that, Sagittarius. Also, because your sign rules the courts, you could be thinking about some sort of legal matter or court matter that may be sort of coming to a head right now, and you may have to examine that much more closely, because yes, Venus is in your sign and the Sun is in your sign, but so is Mars. And that Mars is a malefic planet. It can make you extra angry. It could threaten your health right now, because the 3 planets in your sign are squaring the sign of Virgo, and Virgo rules health, and both mental and physical, or healthcare costs. And so that's being threatened. But also Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your Sun, and that means that there can be matters behind the scenes and people that have wanted to just deliberately mislead you. And you're going to have to sort of weed those people out of your life, Sagittarius, or they're going to keep trying to hurt you, or take advantage of you, or even lie to you or steal from you. And that can be going on right now behind the scenes. And you need to sort of flush those people out of your life, Sagittarius. They're up to no good. And then on top of that, the full moon in Gemini tomorrow is opposing your sun sign. So there can be somebody else that sort of wants to go their own way. It could be somebody younger, because Gemini rules youth, or they want to do something that's temporary or part-time, and you may or may not agree with that, but I think that they're going to be able to do that. The full moon is in their sign. And remember, the only planet that's backing up that full moon right now does happen to be Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto represents people in upper management. And perhaps there's somebody younger that you know that wants to change their career path, or doesn't want to go to a 4-year college, which is what your sign rules, and just wants to get new training in order to get a job, or to go their own way. And it would pay you to be more understanding about that, Sagittarius. And because you've got Mars in your sign and it's being squared by Saturn, you could propel yourself into an uphill battle, and it would be a little difficult to remove yourself from it without getting hurt. And so I advise you not to get in an uphill battle. But it could be that other people are looking for ways to mislead you or to get what they want, and so you need to have your defenses up right now, Sagittarius. But Venus is in your sign, and so is the Sun. However, Mars is the one you have to worry about. That is a malefic planet. And the moon in Gemini is opposing it tomorrow, and Saturn and Neptune are squaring it. So I would say that you sort of need to tiptoe around a lot of things right now. If you want to win an uphill battle, you're going to have to almost do it real quietly on your own, Sagittarius, and then you might win an uphill battle. It is going to depend on the grand trine and the water signs that are encouraging us to end some things that we've sort of outgrown, or end things that are bothering us, and be really true to how we really feel, and follow our hearts. And Venus is in your sign, so that's a good idea for you to do that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when there are not a lot of planets in the Earth signs. There's only one, and it's that malefic planet Uranus, which is at the 29th degree of fate in Taurus, but it is trining your Sun. So at the very last minute, sort of at the 11th hour right now, Capricorn, you may be looking over your investments or high-priced property or commercial property that you're involved with in one way or another, and there could be some shortfalls financially dealing in those areas, and you may want to think about selling something. Even if it was at a reduced price, at least you would have the liability off the books if you sold it, and that's good. Because that Uranus in Taurus was in Taurus between 1935 and 1942, and it hasn't been back to Taurus since then. But look what happened between 1935 and 1942. It was the Great Depression and World War II. Okay, so everybody was broke after those things were over. They either started broke or they ended broke. And Capricorn, that's not the way a Capricorn thinks. A Capricorn wants steady security. And Capricorns are very security prone. And so if you needed to cut back on some expenses or some investments that were falling a little bit and just sell them and, just keep your money to yourself, Capricorn, that would be a very good idea right now. Because Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted and is part of a grand trine in water signs, is opposing your sun sign. And so you could be caught between what you want to do that is a practical solution and what you're really dreaming about and feel deeply about inside of your heart. The two things could be in conflict right now for you. What you do with your money and your investments and what you'd rather be doing that would make your heart happy. And something's got to end, Capricorn. And if I were you, I'd pull back on financial things that are perhaps looking a little risky right now. And if they're going down, I wouldn't take a ride down with them, Capricorn, if I were you. This would be a good time for you to get out from under anything that looks like a losing proposition. And that is the same with your relationships. If you were in some sort of losing relationship, now is when you need to get out from under and just end it. They say misery loves company, but not for long. And it's better, even if you had to be happy by yourself, it's better than being unhappy in some other way. And you don't deserve that. And so be careful right now, Capricorn. Do what's best for you. And do what's best for your long-term security, too, because you're going to live a long time and you've got to have the money to live on. So if something's going down in value, do not go down with the ship, Capricorn. Just end it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Pluto is in your sign and it's the only planet that is being trined by that full moon tomorrow in Gemini, because those are the only two planets in an air sign. The moon in Gemini is trining Pluto in your sign, but together they are both trining the sign of Libra, which rules partnerships. And so there is the possibility, Aquarius, that you might want to sign some sort of contract. Libra rules that as well. Or you may want to take on some temporary job or some temporary effort or even a temporary partner right now that could help you get into your future. I think that's a good idea, Aquarius. I mean, two heads are better than one. And Aquarians have very bright ideas. They have a lot of them, too. And so there is the possibility that even if somebody is much younger and doesn't quite have the skills that you've got, or else has more advanced skills than you've got, it wouldn't be such a bad idea for you to get together with people with new ideas right now, or who just want to help you out in a temporary way, or who are younger than you. Gemini rules youth, because that trine is a pretty good trine between Pluto and your sign, which isn't moving. It's going to be in your sign for years. And finally, there is the full moon in Gemini, which is trining that Pluto. There could be, and the moon rules women, there could be a woman who could sort of link up with you, even just on a temporary basis, and she may be younger than you as well, but it could work out quite well for you, and even create some sort of future partnership that could last a little bit longer. But at least it could be started right now, Aquarius, and I would look around. If you need extra help on something, this is a good time for you to look around and get it. And it might be with people whose skills are a little bit more modern and advanced than yours are. And so that would be a good partner for you right now. It would help take you into the future too, Aquarius, which would be good. Because Uranus in Taurus is squaring that Pluto in your sign. And it's a malefic planet. And it's in a fixed financial sign. Well, Mercury in Scorpio is in the other fixed financial sign, and that is squaring your sun as well. And that planet is part of a grand trine in the water signs. The way to win an uphill battle right now is to be very sure of how you feel and be really honest about that. And then if something needs to end, then it needs to end. But it needs to be based on your honest feelings first. And I would say that your future is looking brighter than you think, Aquarius, as long as you do not stick to the past. because time doesn't go backwards, it goes forward. And your sign rules the future. So you've really got to concentrate a little bit more on your future right now, and you can get some nice help with that, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, Saturn has finally gone direct in your sign. It's been retrograde for a while. It also had gone into Aries along with Neptune, and it wasn't in your sign. But now both Saturn, which is direct, and Neptune, your own ruler, which is at the 29th degree of fate in your sign and is retrograde, they're both being trined beautifully by Mercury in Scorpio and by the exalted Jupiter in Cancer, which rules endings. These planets are all in very close alignment with, are trine to each other. There's nothing far off about any of them. Mercury's at 23 degrees of Scorpio, Jupiter's at 24 degrees of Cancer, Saturn is at 25 degrees of your sign, and Neptune is at 29 degrees. You see how they're all getting along really well? And so Pisces, since your sign rules things behind the scenes, and Mars and the Sun and Venus in Sagittarius are squaring that Saturn and Neptune in your sign, it means that there can be some matter that has either been concealed behind the scenes or that is now challenging you anyway, and it would deal with a court or legal matter or people from foreign countries, something, or higher education. And since Mars is one malefic planet and Saturn is the other, these two squaring each other are not doing you any good, Pisces. But the grand trine in the water signs is doing you a lot of good. So this is a time, since we're all going to be facing an uphill battle this week, including you, Pisces, this is a time to be very honest about your feelings. And one way, after you're extremely honest about your feelings and what you want for your future, or what your most precious dream is, it would probably require an ending. And it would be rather easy to make the ending, even two endings, because yours is a double-bodied sign. And so if you are you thinking to yourself, well, my life would be better if I ended some things right now and just concentrated on a precious, quiet dream that I've had for a very long time. And it could be something that you've always wanted to do, or it could be involving somebody you'd always wanted to be with. This is the time for you to clear the decks and do it. Because your sign is a water sign, and there's this powerful grand trine in the water signs right now, and it's really close. All these planets are directly trining each other. That means you're going to have help, sort of coming home to the real truth in your heart right now, Pisces. That may mean that you're going home, or that you're moving. Cancer rules moving. But it wouldn't be to anything that was second best. It would be to something that you maybe had on your mind or in your heart for a long time. And that's the direction you should be going in, Pisces. Be true to yourself and to your deepest feelings, because that's how to win an uphill battle. So that no matter what else you're facing, you could come out the winner, as long as you were real honest about what was most precious to you, and you were actually even making a commitment to that. And you could do it. So I hope you are honest with yourself, and then you can be true to yourself and true to your heart. And if you are, you're going to be able to win an uphill battle, Pisces. Just remember, you will win it as long as you're absolutely honest about what is in your heart. So good luck. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving last week, and I hope you're looking forward to the holidays. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. I hope you tell your friends about the show, and I'll be right back here next week to see you and give you more information. Bye.